Lads, lassies, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and today welcome to a little bit of a bonus video throughout the Zero to Hero series, and this one is to do with how to actually set up your board. So generally speaking, if you've been wakeboarding, you've been progressing, you might actually be interested in getting your own board. Now, in terms of what board do you go for, what size do you get, I'm actually going to leave a link up there to a video I've done in the past which explains the sizings. But one thing to bear in mind is a lot of it is down to preference within reason. So if you like a slightly bigger board for some softer landings, then by all means go for that. But equally, if you want a smaller board, then that's perfect too. I actually quite like a small board, particularly on the boat. So there's obviously three main parts to a board. There is the board itself, there's the bindings, and there's these little claws and screws which will actually hold your bindings to your board. Now, to set it up, so again, this all comes down to preference. So I don't want to say that anything's a specific science. The one thing I'll say is to make sure that your feet are always pointing away from each other, your toes. If you have them facing in, you're gonna do your ACL or something. So that is rule number one, is always have them kind of what we call, I actually can't remember what we call it, ducked. Always have them ducked. Now the other thing I would say, and this is in my opinion, and you might find other people's opinions differ, but always have them set the mirror opposites, as in, or the same, whatever way you want to describe it, but basically so they're both equal in each end. And the reason for this is, as you know, I'm a big fan of riding switch, and I think it's very important to ride switch, and so you want to have your board set up the same. I've seen people's boards be set up where both bindings are almost facing in the same direction, and it freaks me out, so ideally don't do that. Now, some of the wakeboard nerds out there, and trust me, there's a lot, and there's a lot of people who know more than me about this, and they'll tell me in the comments, you have to have it set to 16 degrees. That's up to you, where you have it. I have found, generally speaking, and this is how little I know, I'm having to look at it, I set mine at about 15 degrees on the outside and about 20 degrees on the inside. Now, again, that's what I like to do. It's not necessarily exactly specific. Now, the last part about setting up your board is to do with your stance and how wide you want your feet apart. Now, with most boards, and definitely all O'Brien wakeboards, they come with 3 different settings on each side. Now, this is up to you where you want them. One thing I'll say is you don't want them too narrow, as that could be quite bad for your back, and you don't want them too wide, as it could be quite bad for your hips. And actually you'll notice this if you ever ride with a really wide stance, your hips will start to get sore. I actually think of it like the gym. What way do you squat in the gym? That's kind of roughly the stance that you should go for. Now that said, I'd say a bit of trial and error comes into play. Maybe go a little bit wider one day, a little bit narrower. Feel what feels best to you and go with that. Anyway, that is a very blasé little episode on how to set up your board. It is down to personal preference, so do what feels best for you, but of course do remember to keep them kind of somewhat simultaneous, because I think that's not the right word, but keep them the same on each side. I'm losing my words here, so thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've learned from it, hopefully you've enjoyed it, and well, you probably haven't enjoyed me waffling on, but yeah, trial and error is the secret sauce. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.